Sold comps. I believe this is the last set of comps that we show to a seller. It's not the first. And actually, when you go through this whole presentation, you will find the seller will say to you, you already had me. I already agree with the price. I understand what you're saying. And there's many presentations I personally went on and other agents I've trained that they didn't even have to get to the solds because the other comps were so convincing. And you're going, again, Brian, what are the comps? We start with it's an acronym called POCATS, P-O-C-A-T-S. It's a reminder as to what order we present things. I believe we should start with the properties that are under contract. Specifically, in most markets, they might call them pendings. Those are the ones that are the firmest type of transactions with just normal contingencies. However, then we have option and then contingent status. So in some markets, it's pending, option for a period, and then it changes to pending after a certain amount of days, or some are just contingent upon the sale of another property, the sale and closing of another property, whatever those are. We want to start with the under contracts because after all, those are the buyers that have just met and matched up with the seller. And why did they match up with the seller? Because when the price matches the existing features, no matter what the marketplace is, a property sells. When the buyers agree that your features you have match the value you're asking, I'll go ahead and buy it. When it doesn't exist, they just sit there and sit there and sit there until potentially the market appreciates and catches up to the property, or the seller adjusts their price or sticks a bunch of capital improvements into it. It's not the marketing plan, right? So an appraiser and a buyer will judge if your property is superior or inferior. If you've ever read an appraisal, you can see all the pluses and the minuses on the property. And essentially, their appraiser is trying to figure out what do you have that's superior or what do you have that's inferior to the comps. Well, the buyer studies the comps, but what do they know about comps? They study the competition. They go through the properties, they judge all these other properties, and they decide what they're going to pass on or what features match the marketplace. Solds are, again, our last thing we're going to show to a seller because my belief is when we walk them through pending, anything under contract, and then the actives, generally higher days in the market with superior properties, and then we take the ones taken off the market, anything that failed, and go in that order. That's the way to emotionally move the seller and get them to elicit a lot of opinions. You could start with solds, but through the courses I've studied about motivational interviewing and therapy, is to take people through this particular cycle is the most effective way to move them emotionally and get them engaged. Solds, last thing I want to say about that is, if you can find a sold, again, with a competitor that the property looks superior, bigger square footage, better features, and ideally the sold comp is also a Brian comp. It means they were bought around the same year, in the same radius, for about the same dollar amount, and now they've re-entered the market and sold. Brian comps are probably one of the most powerful ways to show a seller what you can't do. I want to recap something about Brian comps. These are not style dependent. Style-based comps are, I'm a ranch, you're a ranch, you're a two-story, I'm a two-story, I'm a condo, you're a condo, whatever it is. Brian comps look at the movement in the economy. If you acquired the property around the same radius, around the same year, for about the same dollar amount, and now you've re-entered the market and you sold or expired or whatever it was, it shows what you can and can't do as a homeowner. Statistically, you can't ask 7% appreciation when everybody else went -2. All right, thanks for watching.